It was late evening in the great spaceport. The lights of hundreds of ships glowed in the dark sky. Humans, aliens, and machines moved in endless lines, all busy with their own worlds. In that place full of noise and rushing feet, one small action began a story that no one could stop. The human man was ordinary. He worked hard, earned little, and expected nothing special from life. He was tired, carrying a small bag, thinking only about reaching his tiny rented room. But when he reached a wide steel door at the end of the station corridor, he saw someone running toward it. She was not human. Her skin was silver gray, glowing faintly under the lights. Her eyes were wide, like twin moons filled with fear. She looked behind her shoulder as if hunters followed. The human, without thinking, held the door open. It was a simple act, the kind he did every day for strangers, but for her it meant something else, something powerful. The alien girl froze for a second. Her gaze met his. Then she rushed inside and clutched his arm. Her fingers were cold, her touch trembling, and in a whisper she said words that would change everything. "You are mine now. You are my mate." The human blinked in shock. "What?" he whispered, confused. But she pressed close, hiding behind him. A group of tall, armored hunters appeared at the far end of the corridor, their eyes burning like fire. They saw her, and they saw him. And in that moment he understood. By holding the door, he had stepped into a war he knew nothing about. The hunters did not shout. They simply moved like shadows, slow and deadly. The alien girl's grip tightened. Her voice shook as she explained quickly. "In my people's law, when one saves us in time of danger, he becomes the chosen mate. To refuse is death. To accept is life. Now they will hunt you too, because you touched me, because you helped me." The human's heart raced. He was no hero. He was no soldier. He only wanted to live quietly, far from trouble. But the hunters were already walking faster. The alien girl pulled his hand. "Please, come. If you leave me, they will kill us both." Every part of him wanted to run the other way. Every part of him wanted to drop this strange problem. But something in her eyes stopped him. It was not just fear. It was hope. Hope that he would not abandon her. Hope that maybe, for once in her life, someone would stand beside her. He took a deep breath. His legs moved before his mind agreed. "All right, this way," he said. He pulled her into a side passage, the crowd hiding their escape. The hunters hissed in anger, their heavy boots pounding after them. They ran past glowing signs, through markets and sleeping halls. The human's lungs burned. His heart slammed in his chest, but he kept going. The alien girl whispered thanks between her gasps. Her words were strange, but her voice soft, almost gentle. And the more he heard, the more he felt he could not leave her behind. Finally, they reached a quiet chamber. It was dark, filled with old cargo. He pushed the door shut, leaning against it. The alien girl collapsed beside him, her silver hair falling across her face. "You do not understand," she whispered. "Once I chose you, it is forever. I cannot leave you, and you cannot leave me. They will come, again and again, until one of us dies." The human stared at her, sweat dripping from his face. He wanted to shout, to tell her he never agreed to this, but the sound of hunters in the distance silenced him. Footsteps, cold and heavy, echoed closer. Her hand found his again, her fingers shaking. "You saved me," she said, "so I will save you, even if I must fight my own kind." In that moment, the human understood one thing. He had only wanted to hold a door for a stranger, but now, that door had opened to a path filled with danger, mystery, and war. There was no turning back. Not for him, not for her. And in the shadows of the spaceport, the hunters searched, their eyes burning. The story of man and alien had just begun. The night inside the spaceport was never truly dark. Lights hummed on every wall. Machines whispered. Ships roared in the distance. But for the human and the alien girl hiding inside the old cargo chamber, the world felt narrow and quiet. The silence was broken only by her breathing, shaky and fast. The human pressed his back against the metal wall, his chest rising and falling. He wanted to believe the danger had passed, but deep down he knew it had only begun. Outside, the hunters still searched, their boots pounding like drums. Every step was a reminder that his life was no longer his own. The alien girl sat close to him, her silver eyes glowing faintly in the dark. She studied him the way someone studies a mystery they cannot solve. Then she spoke, her voice soft but steady. "You do not understand what you have done. You opened the sacred door for me. In my people's law, that means you are chosen. Chosen as my mate, chosen as my protector, chosen forever." The human shook his head, his voice low and sharp. "I only held a door. I didn't agree to this. I didn't agree to be hunted." But she leaned closer, her hands gripping his arms like steel. "You are marked now. They saw you. They cannot unsee it. The hunters will never stop. They will follow you across worlds, and the only shield you have is me." The human swallowed hard. It made no sense, yet her eyes told no lies. He remembered the way the hunters had looked at him, not just at her. Already they had decided he was part of this game. Already his fate was sealed. The alien girl touched the side of her neck. There, a strange symbol glowed faintly like a burning mark. When she pressed his hand to it, the glow spread onto his skin. The warmth stung like fire. "You are bound," she whispered. "They will smell it. They will feel it. Every creature in this station will know you belong to me. And to break this bond is to break the law of my people." The human pulled his hand away, staring in shock. He wanted to scream, to run, to undo everything. But the mark still glowed on his skin, faint but real. He clenched his fists, whispering, "What have you done to me?" Her eyes softened. "I saved you as you saved me. If I had not marked you, the hunters would have torn you apart. Now they cannot kill you openly. To hurt you now is to break the ancient code. So instead they will stalk. They will corner. They will force us to fail. But they cannot strike until you break the bond yourself, and if you do, they will kill you instantly." The human's heart pounded. Trapped, tied to a stranger, chased by killers. And all of it because of one small act of kindness. He pressed his hand to his forehead, muttering, "This is insane." But there was no time to argue. From the corridor came a low hiss, a sound like knives scraping. The hunters were close. The alien girl's body stiffened, her silver hair lifting slightly as if sensing the air. "They are here," she said. "If we stay, we die." She pulled him again, this time through a hidden hatch at the back of the chamber. The tunnel beyond was narrow, dripping with strange liquid. The smell of oil and rust filled their noses. The human coughed, stumbling, but she dragged him forward. Her strength was surprising, stronger than her thin body should allow. Behind them, the hunters moved faster. The sound of claws on metal echoed in the tunnel. The human turned his head and saw their shapes, tall and armored. Their glowing eyes locked on him. For the first time he realized something terrifying. They were not only hunting her, they were hunting him too, and they would not stop until he fell. His legs shook, his mind screamed to give up. But then he looked at her, the alien girl, trembling yet determined, her hand never letting go of his. She believed in him, though she had no reason to, and strangely, in that moment, he felt a spark of courage. Maybe humans were weaker, maybe slower, maybe smaller. But humans had something else. They had stubborn hearts. "Keep running," he said, surprising even himself. "We'll find a way out." She looked at him in shock, as if she had expected him to break. Instead, he had chosen to fight. Her lips curved into a small smile. "Perhaps I chose well," she whispered. The tunnel opened into a wide chamber filled with shadows. The hunters poured in behind them, their weapons drawn. The human grabbed a loose metal pipe from the floor. It was not much, but it was something. He lifted it, standing in front of her, his voice steady for the first time. "If they want you, they'll have to go through me first." The hunters paused, their burning eyes narrowing. For the first time, they saw not a weak human, but something more, something they did not expect. And in that strange stillness, the alien girl's heart pounded. For though she had named him her mate by law, in this moment, he was becoming her mate by choice. The battle was about to begin. The fate of one human and one alien girl was now tied together, and somewhere deep in the shadows, destiny waited, watching as the hunters closed in. The story of survival, love, and war had only taken its second step. The human woke in darkness. His chest rose and fell with fast breaths, sweat clinging to his skin. For a moment he thought it was all a dream. The alien girl, the hunters, the mark on his hand. But then he heard it. Heavy boots outside his door, slow and steady. The sound of hunters searching, waiting, circling. He sat up on the small bed, his eyes scanning the shadows of the rented room. The alien girl was already awake, sitting in the corner like a silent statue. Her silver eyes glowed faintly, watching the door with unblinking focus. "They found us," she whispered, her voice calm but sharp. "They never stop. Not until one of us is gone." The human's throat went dry. He had hidden in dark alleys before, avoided trouble on Earth, slipped away when danger came close, but this was different. This was a hunt, a slow game where he was no longer invisible. Now he was the target. The door rattled. The sound sent shivers crawling across his skin. The alien girl rose to her feet, her hand reaching for his arm. "You can still walk away," she said softly. "If you leave me, if you open the bond, they might let you live." The human froze. For a single heartbeat he wanted to believe her words. He imagined opening the door, stepping out saying he was only human, only a mistake. Perhaps the hunters would let him go. Perhaps he could return to his old life, but deep down he knew the truth. The hunters had already marked him as prey. Even if he left her, they would never let him walk free. He clenched his fists, his voice rough but steady. "No, if they want you, they'll have to take me too." The alien girl stared at him, her lips parting as if she had never expected such words. For her people, betrayal was common, loyalty was rare, yet here was a human who had known her only one night, already standing by her side. Her chest tightened with something she could not name, something like trust, something like hope. The door burst open. The hunters filled the frame, tall shadows with burning eyes and blades that shimmered like liquid. They did not roar, they did not shout. They moved in silence, confident, deadly. The alien girl stepped forward, her body tense, but before she could act, the human grabbed the metal lamp beside the bed. He swung it hard, shattering the first hunter's mask. Sparks flew, and the creature stumbled back, hissing. The other hunters surged forward. The room shook with their weight. The human ducked, swung, blocked, his body moving faster than his fear. Every strike was clumsy, but every strike was filled with stubborn will. He fought not because he was strong, but because he refused to fall. The alien girl moved beside him, her hands glowing with strange light. Energy pulsed from her fingers, burning the air. She struck one hunter across the chest, sending it crashing into the wall. Another lunged, but the human tackled it, slamming it into the floor. For a heartbeat, they fought as one, human and alien side by side, but the hunters were endless. More shadows slipped into the room, their eyes flashing. The alien girl's light dimmed. Her body weakening, she stumbled. Her knees buckling, the human caught her, pulling her close. "Stay up," he whispered. "Don't stop. I need you." Her silver eyes met his, filled with exhaustion but also fire. "I will not leave you," she said. And with a final burst of energy, she pushed the nearest hunters back. The force cracked the walls, sparks raining down from broken wires. The human dragged her through the wreckage. They leapt out the broken window, landing hard on the steel ground below. Pain shot through his legs, but he forced himself up, pulling her along behind them. The hunters roared, their silent game broken at last. They ran through dark alleys, past broken signs, through dripping pipes. The whole station seemed to watch them, shadows whispering, eyes glowing from hidden corners. The hunters followed, always just a step behind. No matter how fast they ran, the sound of boots never faded. It was a nightmare with no end. Finally, they collapsed inside an abandoned cargo dock. The human leaned against the wall, his body shaking. The alien girl fell beside him, her breath ragged. For a long moment neither spoke, only listened to the echoes of hunters moving outside. Closer, farther, closer again. A deadly rhythm that never stopped. The alien girl turned her face to him, her voice soft and trembling. "You should not be alive," she whispered. "No human should stand against them, but you did. Why?" The human looked at her, sweat dripping down his face, his chest burning. He did not have an answer, not really, but he remembered the way she had clung to him, the way she had chosen him without hesitation. And somehow leaving her now felt impossible. Because someone has to, he said simply. The alien girl closed her eyes, and for the first time a small, fragile smile touched her lips. In the dark, surrounded by death, a bond was forming, not just of law, not just of survival, but of choice. Outside, the hunters waited. Their shadows moved like predators circling prey. The game was far from over. The hunt was only growing darker, and in that darkness, one human and one alien girl prepared to stand again. Together against the night, the cargo dock was silent. Only the faint drip of leaking pipes echoed through the shadows. The human leaned against a broken crate, his chest aching with every breath. The alien girl sat beside him, her silver hair tangled, her skin glowing faintly in the dark. For a long time, neither spoke. The hunt had drained them. Fear had chased away words, but at last the human broke the silence, his voice rough. "Why are they after you? What did you do to make them hunt you across the stars?" The alien girl did not answer at once. Her eyes flickered, as if she weighed the danger of truth. Then she looked at him, her voice low and sharp. "You think I am only a runaway, but I am more than that. I carry a secret my people would kill for. And now that you are marked as my mate, you carry it too." The human's stomach tightened. He had known there was more, but the weight of her words pressed on him like chains. "What secret?" he asked, his hands curling into fists. She turned her gaze away, her voice trembling. "My people, they are ruled by houses, ancient families with old laws. They choose mates not by love, not by kindness, but by bloodlines and power. I was promised to one of them, a warrior lord who wanted me only as a symbol, but I refused. I escaped. And I stole something before I left." Her hand reached into her cloak, pulling out a small crystal sphere. It pulsed with shifting colors. Like a living star trapped in glass, the human stared, the light reflecting in his eyes. "What is that?" he whispered. "The memory core," she answered. "It holds knowledge of old weapons my people swore to destroy. If the warrior lord gains it, he will rule not only my kind, but many others. He will bring war to every world. That is why the hunters follow me. That is why they will never stop. And now, because of me, you are bound to this war." The human's chest grew heavy. He thought back to his simple life, a rented room, a low job, long nights of loneliness, and now here he was, standing between an alien girl and a war that could swallow worlds. He laughed once, bitter and low. "All this because I held a door." The alien girl's eyes softened. "No, not only that, you could have walked away. You could have left me, but you stayed, you chose. That choice means more than you know." The human shook his head, his voice sharp. "I didn't choose to be hunted. I didn't choose to carry your secret." Her eyes flashed, a spark of pain in them. "Do you regret saving me?" she asked. The question cut deep, sharper than any hunter's blade. For a moment he wanted to say yes, but when he looked at her face, tired, scared yet proud, his words froze. He sighed, leaning back against the crate. "I don't regret it, I just don't know how I can fight something this big." The alien girl reached for his hand, her touch cool. "You fight not with power, but with heart. That is why I chose you, not by law, but by hope." Before he could answer, a sound rose outside. The hunter's hiss, low and cruel. They were close again, circling the dock. The alien girl hid the crystal sphere, her eyes narrowing. "They know I carry it. They will not rest until they take it from me." The human stood, gripping the same metal pipe he had carried before. His arms ached, his body screamed for rest, but he lifted it anyway, his jaw set. "Then we don't let them take it." The alien girl's lips curved into a small smile. For the first time, her fear seemed lighter. Together, they slipped through the back of the dock. The tunnels ahead stretched like veins of steel and shadow. Every corner carried danger. Every sound carried threat. As they moved, the human glanced at her. "You said you were promised to a warrior lord. If he catches us, what will he do?" Her eyes darkened. "He will kill you first, slowly. Then he will break me until I bow, but I will never bow. I would rather die with you than live as his trophy." The human's chest tightened at her words. He had never expected loyalty from a stranger, yet here she was. Willing to fall beside him, he said nothing, but his grip on the pipe tightened for the first time. He felt he was not only protecting her, he was fighting for something greater, fighting for her freedom and perhaps his own. The hunter's shadows stretched across the walls. Their glowing eyes appeared in the distance. The chase began again, footsteps echoing through the tunnels. But now the human did not run only from fear. He ran with purpose. With every step he understood more. This was no accident. This was fate, and he would not let fate break him. Behind him, the alien girl whispered, "You are not just my mate by law. You are becoming my mate in truth." The hunters closed in. The tunnels shook with their power, and the story of human and alien raced toward its next battle. A secret carried in fragile hands, a choice that could shape the stars, and a bond that no hunter could break. The tunnels stretched endlessly, pipes dripped, shadows twisted, and every sound echoed like footsteps. The human and the alien girl kept moving, but exhaustion weighed heavy. Their bodies ached, their breaths sharp, yet they dared not stop. Behind them, the hunter's presence was like smoke, unseen but always there. At last, they reached an abandoned chamber deep under the station. The air was thick with dust. The walls cracked and rusted. The alien girl sat down, clutching her cloak around the hidden crystal sphere. The human leaned against a broken pillar, gripping his metal pipe with tired hands. For a moment, silence pressed between them. Then the air changed. A low voice echoed through the chamber. It was smooth, calm, almost kind. "Human," it said. "You do not belong in this. Leave her, and you may live." The human stiffened, his eyes darting. Figures stepped out of the shadows. The hunters, tall and silent, their blades glowing faintly. But this time they did not strike. Instead, one stepped forward, its mask shifting to reveal a pale face. Its eyes burned, but its mouth curved like a smile. "You are strong for your kind," the hunter said. "But you are fragile. She carries danger. Not only for you, but for your world. Give her to us, and we will let you go. Not only let you go, we will reward you riches, power, a place where no one will ever hunt you again." The human's breath caught. The words were poison, but they carried weight. He thought of his old life, the empty nights, the long work. The feeling of being nothing. Now here was a chance, and a chance to walk free. To live without fear. All he had to do was step aside. The alien girl's eyes locked on him, wide and shining. She did not speak, but her silence spoke louder than words. She knew this was the moment he could betray her, the moment he could trade her life for his own safety. The hunter's voice pressed closer. "She is not your kind. Her secret will burn your earth. Think, human. Do you want to see your planet in flames because of one foolish bond? Choose wisely, in your species or hers." The human's chest tightened. The image of Earth burning rose in his mind. The streets he had walked, the people he had known, all swallowed by fire. And all because he held a door for a stranger. His pipe shook in his hand. His heart screamed with doubt. What if the hunter was right? What if saving her doomed them all? The alien girl finally spoke, her voice trembling but steady. "If you must leave, leave. I will not beg. But know this, no one of my people ever stood for me. Not my family, not my promised mate, no one. If you choose them now, it will not surprise me. It will only break what little hope I had left." Her words cut deeper than the hunter's threats. The human looked at her, tired, bruised, clutching the crystal that carried the weight of war. She had no reason to trust him, yet she had trusted anyway. And he realized something sharp and clear. It was not about laws, not about bloodlines, not about planets. It was about choice, his choice. He stepped forward, his voice firm. "You think humans are weak? You think we trade loyalty for safety? But you don't know us. We may be fragile, but we do not bow. If she stands, I stand with her. If you want her, you'll have to kill me too." The hunter's eyes narrowed, its false smile fading for the first time. The silence trembled with anger. "You choose death," it hissed. The human raised his pipe, his arms shaking but steady. "Maybe," he said, "but it's my death. My choice." The alien girl rose beside him, her silver eyes blazing with light. Her hand found his, their fingers tightening. "You could have betrayed me," she whispered. "But you didn't. That is why humans are different. That is why I chose you," the hunters hissed, their patience breaking. They surged forward, blades flashing. The chamber shook as the fight began. The human swung, blocked, ducked. The alien girl struck with bursts of energy. Together they moved, clumsy yet unbroken. The hunters had numbers, strength, and skill. But the human and the alien had something else. They had trust. They had defiance. And as the battle raged, the hunters learned that no promise of riches, No threat of fire could shake the human heart. At last the hunters pulled back, not defeated but delayed. Their leader's voice echoed as they vanished into the shadows. This is not the end. Your choice has doomed you both. We will come again, and next time you will fall. The chamber fell silent. The human slumped against the wall. His breath ragged, the alien girl knelt beside him, her hand resting on his shoulder. You could have walked away, she whispered. But you stayed. For that I am yours, and not by law, not by fear, but by truth. And though the human's body ached, his spirit burned bright. For in that dark chamber, hunted and cornered, he had made the choice of humanity, and it was a choice no hunter could ever break. The station's outer rim was silent. Cold wind slipped through broken vents, carrying the smell of rust and smoke. The human and the alien girl stood inside the ruins of an old station block. Walls shattered, floors cracked. This place had been abandoned for years. But tonight it was their only refuge, and tonight it would be their last stand. The human's body ached with every step. His arms were cut, his chest bruised, his pipe bent nearly beyond use. The alien girl was no better. Her silver skin dimmed, her glow faint, her breath shallow, yet even in her weakness, her hand still gripped his. She refused to let go. She looked at him, her voice soft but fierce. We cannot run anymore. They will find us here or anywhere if we must fall. I am glad it is with you. The human stared at her, the weight of her words sinking into him. He was no soldier, no warrior, just an ordinary man who had once held a door. Yet here he stood, chosen, hunted, loved by someone not of his world. A bitter laugh escaped his lips. Funny, he said. I never thought holding a door would end like this. She smiled faintly, though her eyes were wet. Neither did I, she whispered. But before he could answer, the sound came. The hunters, their steps echoing through the ruins, heavy and sharp. They were close. The human tightened his grip on the pipe. His heart pounding, the alien girl pressed her back to his, standing tall despite her trembling. The ruins shook as shadows filled the broken halls. Dozens of hunters emerged, their glowing eyes cutting through the dark. At their front stood the warrior lord, her promised mate, tall, armored, his presence like a storm. His voice rolled like thunder. You dare defy me? You dare steal what is mine? The alien girl's voice rose, sharp as a blade. I was never yours, and I never will be. The warrior lord's eyes shifted to the human. You are nothing, a fragile beast of dirt and bone. Do you think you can stand against me? Do you think she truly chose you? The human's chest heaved, but his voice came steady. She didn't have to, but she did. And I chose her too, not by law, not by fear, but by truth, the warrior lord roared. Raising his blade, the hunters surged forward. The battle began. The human swung his pipe, blocking a strike that could have split him in two. He ducked, rolled, smashed the pipe into a hunter's mask, sparks flying. Beside him, the alien girl unleashed bursts of light, her energy weak but sharp. Every blast pushed back their enemies. Every strike carried her will. Together they moved, stumbling, bleeding, but never breaking. The hunters surrounded them. Pressing closer, the human's arms shook, his breath ragged. The alien girl faltered. Nearly falling, he caught her, pulling her close. Stay with me, he whispered. His voice raw, she lifted her eyes, her lips trembling. Always, she said. Mate in truth, not in name. Her words burned in him like fire. Something deeper than strength rose in his chest. He swung harder, fought faster, refused to fall. Every strike was for her, for the choice they shared. And though the hunters outnumbered them, they could not crush his will. But the warrior lord was different. He moved like lightning. His blade cutting through steel and stone, he struck the human across the chest, sending him crashing into the wall. Pain exploded through his body. His vision blurred. The alien girl screamed. Rushing to his side, the warrior lord towered above them. His blade raised high. This ends now, he thundered. But the human forced himself up. Blood on his lips, his hands trembling. He stood in front of her again, pipe raised. His voice breaking but fierce. No, it doesn't. Not while I'm breathing. The alien girl's eyes filled with light, tears running down her cheeks. She placed her hand over his, the mark between them glowing bright. You are no longer just mine by law, she whispered. You are my mate by choice. And by truth. The glow spread across them both, burning like fire. The hunters staggered back, hissing in fear. Even the warrior lord paused, his eyes narrowing. The bond between human and alien was alive. Shining, unbroken, something ancient stirred, something even the hunters did not understand. The human lifted his pipe again, his voice steady despite his pain. "You can break my body, but you'll never break us," the warrior lord snarled. Rushing forward, the final clash began. Steel and fire colliding in the ruins. The fate of human and alien teetered on the edge, and in the heart of battle, one truth burned brighter than all. They were no longer bound by chance, they were bound by choice. The ruins shook with every clash. The warrior lord's blade cut through walls, through stone, through steel. Hunters circled like wolves, their eyes burning in the dark. And in the center of it all stood the human and the alien girl, side by side, refusing to fall. The human's arms trembled as he raised his bent pipe again. Blood dripped from his wounds. Pain burned in every muscle, yet he stood unbroken. The alien girl's glow flickered faintly, her energy nearly gone, but her eyes blazed with fire, a fire born not of power, but of love and choice. The warrior lord stepped forward, towering above them. "You think your bond matters?" he roared. "You are nothing, human. A mistake of flesh and weakness, bow now. And I may grant you mercy." The human spat blood on the floor, his voice rough but strong. "Humans don't bow. Not to tyrants, not to monsters, not to you." The warrior lord's eyes narrowed. His rage burning, with a roar he charged, blade flashing like lightning. The human met him, pipe against steel, sparks flying in the dark. The clash shook the ruins, echoing through the halls like thunder. Every strike drove the human back. Every blow nearly broke his bones, but he kept standing, kept swinging, kept fighting, because behind him, the alien girl was watching, trusting, believing, and he could not let that belief die. The alien girl raised her trembling hands. She poured what little energy she had left into the glowing bond between them. The mark on their skin blazed like fire. The light wrapped around the human. Not his armor, but his will. Not strength of muscle, but strength of spirit, the hunters hissed. Shielding their eyes, the warrior lord snarled, pressing harder. "You cannot win, human. You have no army, no power, no weapon but a stick." The human grinned through blood. "That's enough," he said and struck. The pipe slammed into the warrior lord's face. The glow from their bond flared at the same moment. The blow was small, human, clumsy, but it was unexpected, and in that single heartbeat, the great warrior lord stumbled. The hunters gasped, the silence sharp as a blade. For the first time, their master had faltered. The human stepped forward, his voice low and fierce. "You call me weak, but weakness is what makes us fight harder. You call me fragile, but fragility makes us stubborn. You call me nothing, but I am human, and humans never bow." The alien girl's tears glowed like silver. Her voice trembled as she spoke. "He is my mate, not by your law, but by his choice, by his heart, and that is something you can never take." The warrior lord roared again, swinging his blade in fury. The human ducked, rolled, swung back. Every strike now carried the weight of two hearts, two lives bound as one. The hunters stepped back, their fear spreading like fire, for they saw not a fragile man but something greater. A symbol of defiance, at last, the human struck one final time. His pipe cracked against the warrior lord's chest. The glow of the bond burned brighter than a star. The force hurled the warrior lord back. Slamming him into the wall, the ruins shook. Dust falling like rain, silence followed. The warrior lord did not rise, the hunters lowered their heads. Their eyes dimming, one by one, they stepped back into the shadows. Fading away, the hunt was over. The human dropped his pipe. His knees buckling, the alien girl caught him, her arms wrapping around him. "You did it," she whispered, her voice breaking with relief. "You stood when no one else would." He leaned against her, his breath ragged but steady. "Guess that's what humans do," he murmured. "We keep standing." She pressed her forehead against his, her silver glow warming again. "You were never my mate by force. You became my mate by choice, and now by truth. You are the only one I will ever stand with." The human smiled faintly. "Despite the blood, despite the pain, I held a door," he whispered, and somehow, it opened the galaxy outside the ruins. The first light of dawn broke through the broken station walls. The hunt had ended, but their story had only begun. Together they would face the worlds ahead, hunted or free. Together they would carry the bond that no power could break. And in that light, one truth stood clear. Humans may be fragile, humans may be small, but humans never bow, not to fate, not to fear, not to any master, and because of that, one ordinary human had changed everything.